Hey, this is Jacob. I just want to encourage you for a second. It's almost Easter, and we don't often stop and pause throughout the year thinking about the resurrection of Jesus. We should. Every Sunday that we gather is a Resurrection Sunday. The whole reason we gather to worship each week on the first day of the week is because that's the day that Jesus rose from the dead, and we're shouting at the enemy and we're celebrating in victory every Sunday as we lift up our hands and voices in worship that Jesus is alive. But we often don't pause to think on the implications of the resurrection and what that means for our life. The Bible talks about it a lot. Really, the entirety of the Bible points to that. The Old Testament looks forward to it. The New Testament looks back on it. The resurrection and the fact that Jesus is alive is the anchor for our hope. That's a key word in the Bible. That's a key word in my life. And that should be a key word for a lot of struggling people who are seeking to follow God, who are seeking to have joy, but knows that life is hard. Jesus himself said, in this world you will have trouble. That's a promise straight from the mouth of Jesus. But then he said, but take heart, I have overcome the world. He's overcome not just through his death, but through his resurrection. He has defeated sin and death. I love how Peter puts it in 1 Peter. He says, blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. According to his great mercy, he has caused us to be born again to a living hope. How? Through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. We've been born again to a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. To an inheritance that is imperishable, undefiled, and unfading, kept in heaven for you, who by God's power are being guarded through faith for a salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. In this you rejoice, though now for a little while, if necessary, you have been grieved by various trials, so that the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes, though it is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. So this is what Peter says. Peter's talking to exiles who are struggling. We're exiles on this earth. Earth is not our home. We have heaven waiting for us, and it is purchased for us by the resurrection of Jesus. And because of the resurrection of Jesus, you can have a living hope, not a dead hope. He's not in the grave. The tomb is empty. Jesus is alive. That is a fact. It's fake news to say Jesus never existed. It's fake news to say Jesus never died. It's fake news to say Jesus never rose from the dead. For Jesus is alive. There's proofs. There's extra biblical proofs. There are proofs from enemies. There's proofs from the Bible. There's proof after proof after proof that Jesus is alive. And so what does that mean for you? What that means is you can have hope. A hope through trial and a hope through suffering. Because if Jesus is alive, he's making all things new. If Jesus is alive, you have a home in heaven if you believe in him. If Jesus is alive, the end of the story is he is victorious. And because you are his, you are victorious. So whatever trial you're going through now, it is light and momentary compared to the eternity that he has purchased through his resurrection. He has suffered. He knows suffering. So when you suffer, know that he's been there. But he has defeated sin and suffering and death so that even if you face the worst in this world, you can walk through it with a living hope. So I want to encourage you, the resurrection isn't just something to think about at Easter time. It isn't just something to think about on Sunday mornings when we celebrate the resurrection. It's something to think about and dwell on and live out every single day. Because of the resurrection, you can have a living hope. And that fuels everything. That fuels everything. That fuels your joy. That fuels your suffering well. That fuels your hope. And that's the key word in the Bible. That's the key word in my life. And that's the word that will lead us into eternity, of which Jesus has purchased through his resurrection. You can have a living hope because Jesus is alive.